The first thing my father did when I walked into the house on Christmas Eve was shove my gift aside with his foot. It slid across the floor and hit the coffee table leg. The room smelled like pine and cinnamon candles. Around 75 people watched. No one said a word. My sister Maddie stood by the fireplace, holding a wine glass. I was just saying, she told everyone, with a smile. Some people only show up when it's convenient. That was meant for me. My mother noticed me first. Her face tightened. We weren't expecting you, she said, quietly. My father wasn't quiet. You don't disappear for 5 years and come back for family Christmas photos. I stood there empty-handed. The cedar box I brought had already been kicked away. My name is Eliza Thornton. I'm 32 years old. I drove 6 hours from Denver with that box beside me the whole way, telling myself I wasn't coming to argue. I just wanted to place a gift under the tree and feel like I still belonged. Maddie tilted her head. You can't buy redemption, Liza. Redemption. Like leaving home had been some terrible betrayal. The Christmas lights blinked behind her. My father folded his arms. Your sister stayed and kept this family together. Stayed. That word again. I looked down at the cedar box. Inside, it was 5 years of sacrifice. Endless shifts. Exhaustion. Money transfers no one knew about. I picked it up slowly. The truth started months earlier with a call from my Aunt June. Eliza, she said without even saying hello. Your parents are 4 months behind on the mortgage. I laughed in disbelief. That's impossible. Maddie said she was handling it. Silence. The bank posted a notice, June said. They're heading toward foreclosure. I was sitting in my car outside the hospital after a double shift, still smelling like antiseptic. Suddenly I felt sick. I called the credit union immediately. The loan officer checked the account. Madeline Thornton has online access. He told me. She promised a payment last month, but nothing came through. My stomach dropped. The mortgage was 4 months overdue. Over $186,000 still owed. And Maddie had been telling everyone she had it under control. That night, I called my father. Dad, are you behind on the house? Your sister's handling it, he said. I spoke to the bank. Silence. Finally, he admitted Maddie had refinanced the house and managed all the accounts. Did you even read what you signed? I asked. She stayed here, he replied. I trust her. That hurt more than I expected. After the call, I contacted the bank. Again. I want to make a payment, I said. You're not listed on the loan, the officer replied. But we can accept third-party payments. The overdue balance was $12,200. I paid it that same night. Then I started sending $3,050 every month after that. I told myself it would only be temporary. It lasted 5 years. 60 payments. The mortgage was eventually paid off. And nobody ever thanked me. One day Aunt June called again after a church fundraiser. Your father gave a speech, she said. About what? He said Maddie saved the family home. I sat on the kitchen floor staring at nothing. Later, my mother told me Maddie had been handling paperwork to secure the property for the future. So I searched the county records myself. That's when I found it. Maddie's name had been added to the deed through joint tenancy. She had quietly made herself co-owner of the house while I was paying the bills. I called my father immediately. Did you approve this? She said it was estate planning, he answered weakly. And just like that, I understood. I had been saving the house. Maddie had been claiming it. Then Christmas came. I found out about the gathering from Facebook like everyone else. Christmas Eve at our place, Maddie posted. Immediate family only. There was a photo of the Christmas tree. My father stood behind Maddie with his arm around her shoulder, smiling like everything was perfect. I called her before I could change my mind. You forgot to invite me, I said. She gave a soft little laugh. Eliza, it's better this way. Better for who? Dad doesn't want tension. Tension, I repeated. Or questions. You always turn everything into money. I've been sending $3,050 every month for 5 years. That was your choice. And you've been telling people you saved the house. I handled the bank, she snapped.
I
negotiated the loan. I protected the property. You added yourself to the deed. That was legal. You opened a home equity line. For flexibility. For what? Silence. Finally, she said, you left. Like that explained everything. You don't get to disappear and rewrite history. I didn't disappear, I said quietly. I worked. In Denver, she replied. Not here. That was the real problem. To them, leaving home meant abandoning. You have no idea what it takes to
stay, she said.
And you have no idea what it costs to leave, I answered. Her voice turned cold. Don't come. Then she hung up. No yelling. Just silence. I sat there staring at my phone before opening my laptop and logging into the credit union portal. 60 payments. Every confirmation number. Every date. I called the bank the next morning. I need certified copies of all payment records. For legal reasons? The clerk asked. For Christmas, I replied. 3 days later, a thick envelope arrived at my apartment. Inside was everything. Mortgage payoff records. 60 payments of $3,050. Total paid, $183,217. There was also a copy of the deed with Maddie listed as joint tenant, and the home equity line paperwork with her signature across the bottom. Logan found me staring at the documents at the kitchen table. You're going, aren't you? He asked. I wasn't invited. That's not what I asked. I stacked the papers carefully. I don't want to fight. Then don't fight, he said calmly. Just tell the truth. They won't believe me. Then bring proof. I looked down at the papers again. 5 years of overtime shifts. 5 years of sacrifice. 5 years of silence. I don't want to embarrass them, I
said softly.
Logan looked at me for a long moment. Are you embarrassing them? He asked. Or are you finally refusing to stay invisible? I didn't answer. The next morning I bought a small cedar box and placed every document inside. Simple, solid, heavy. By the time I walked fully into the living room on Christmas Eve, Maddie had already recovered her perfect smile. We were just talking about loyalty,
she told the guests.
About who actually shows up. My father nodded proudly beside her. I walked to the tree and placed the cedar box underneath it. For Mom and Dad, I said. My father barely looked at me. She's got nerve, he muttered. I drove 6 hours, I replied. That's not nerve. That's Christmas. You weren't invited. Maddie stepped closer. You always bring tension, Eliza. I brought facts. Her smile faded slightly. What facts? Mortgage records. Deed records. The room suddenly felt smaller. Someone dropped a fork against a plate. In the kitchen, my father finally looked directly at me. Your sister saved this house. I paid $3,050 every month for 5 years. Maddie laughed, but it sounded weak. You sent a little help, she said.
I
managed everything. You also put yourself on the deed. That was protection. And the home equity line? That was strategy. For who? I asked. Her eyes narrowed. You don't understand how things work here anymore. I understand $183,217 leaving my bank account. The room went silent. Then my father stepped forward and
kicked the cedar box again.
Harder this time. You don't get to buy redemption, he
said.
Redemption? I looked at him steadily. I'm not buying anything. I already paid. Maddie crossed her arms tightly. If you have proof, she said, show
it.
That was the moment everything changed. I looked down at the cedar box on the
floor.
and before I could move, Aunt June stepped forward. Enough, she said sharply. She bent down, picked up the box, and looked around the room. If we're talking about loyalty, she said, then let's talk about numbers. June, stay out of this, my father said
Sharply.
June didn't even look at him. It became my business when you almost lost your house. She placed the cedar box on the table and slowly opened it. The room went quiet. She lifted the first document. Mortgage satisfaction certificate, she said calmly. Loan paid in full. My father frowned. That can't be right. June turned the paper toward him. Paid in full by Eliza Thornton. Total. Payments over 5 years. $183,217. The room shifted uncomfortably. Not shock. Just silence heavy enough to feel. That's misleading, Maddie interrupted.
Quickly.
She helped sometimes, but I handled everything else. June ignored her. 60 payments, she continued. $3,050. Every month. Same account. Same dates. My father looked confused now. You told me you refinanced the house. I did, Maddie snapped. I negotiated the loan terms. I kept us stable. You also changed the contact email to your own, June replied. That's how online banking works. Maddie shot back. A neighbor near the window muttered. That's not how honesty works. June pulled out another paper. Home equity line opened last year. Borrower, Madeline Thornton. Approved. For $50,000. My father slowly turned toward Maddie. You told me that was just a precaution. It was, she insisted. You said we had to protect the property. Protect it from who? I asked quietly. Maddie answered before thinking. From you. The room froze. Even she seemed shocked she'd said it out loud. June placed the final document on the table, the deed. Maddie listed as joint tenant. No notification given to Eliza. I didn't need her permission, Maddie said, but her confidence was gone now. My father stared at her. I trusted you, he said softly. That was the moment everything broke. Not loudly, quietly, the kind of break that never fully repairs. I didn't stay to watch the rest. Before anyone could decide whether to comfort me or accuse me, I walked out of the house. An hour later, June texted me. He's not yelling, she wrote. That somehow felt worse. I imagined my father sitting alone at the dining table, staring at the same numbers over and over. $3,050. 60 times. $183,217. Halfway back to Denver, Maddie called. You humiliated me, she said. Immediately. I stayed silent. You brought paperwork to Christmas. You told me to prove it. She breathed hard into the phone. You could have handled this privately. I did, I answered. For 5 years. Silence. Then she whispered bitterly. You ruined Christmas. No, I said calmly. I ended the lie. She hung up. Around midnight, my phone rang again.
Dad.
I let it ring until voicemail picked up. Eliza, he said quietly. We're driving to Denver. They arrived before sunrise. I watched their truck sit outside for a full minute before opening the door. They didn't knock. That told me enough already. My father stepped out first. He looked smaller somehow. Not weaker. Just smaller. We drove through the night, he said. I know. For a moment neither of us spoke. Then he sighed heavily. I went to the credit union this morning. And I asked for every record. I nodded slowly. I should have asked 5 years ago, he
said.
My mother stood beside him with her hands tightly clasped together. We let convenience become trust, she said quietly. That was our mistake. Dad nodded. I convinced myself Maddie deserved
Control because she stayed, he said.
And I convinced myself you leaving meant you stopped caring. I left to work, I replied. I left to keep you in that house. He closed his eyes for a second. I signed papers without reading them. That's on me. I wanted things easy.
I
Avoided conflict. You ended up with both, I said. A tired smile almost crossed his face. Almost. We removed Maddie from the deed, he
said,
and closed the home equity line. For now, I replied.
Trust takes
Longer to fix than paperwork. I know. The silence between us felt different.
This time.
Heavy, but honest. Finally, I looked at him and said, I don't need guilt from you. What do you need? I need you to stop assuming the quiet child carries less. He looked directly at me. I won't make that mistake again. For the first time in years, I believed him. That didn't mean everything was healed. A year later, my parents sold the house and moved somewhere smaller. Fewer rooms, fewer secrets. At Christmas dinner, my father handed me the carving knife without making a
speech about it.
That small moment meant more to me than any apology ever could. And if I learned anything from all of this, it's this. Silence may look peaceful from the outside, but inside it keeps building pressure until something finally breaks. As for forgiveness, I don't think it happens all at once. I think it's a choice you keep making, over and over again. And honestly, I'm still learning how to make it.